It is this concept of calorie density, which I just mentioned, which shows why our children are becoming either overweight or obese. Because guess what? When we eat those calorie dense foods, they following us. So guess what? As the local saying goes, monkey see, monkey do. Hi, I'm Howard Spencer of Spencer's Soul Food Plant-Based Eats and Treats, where we believe that the path to good health is about changing your environment, especially your food environment, and that works better than any sort of willpower or personal responsibility. At the time of recording this, it is the 4th of January 2025. So, on behalf of everyone here at Spencer's Soul Food Plant-Based Eats and Treats, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a Happy New Year. One of the most common goals that a lot of people tend to have around the start of a new year is that they want to either improve their health or they want to lose weight or a combination of the two. So therefore, what a lot of people tend to do is that they tend to resort to detoxes, fad diets in order to kickstart that weight loss or to start their weight loss journey in order to achieve some measure of good health. I recently came across a video, a relatively old video from the Now Morning Show, which featured a doctor by the name of Dr. Sukhbir of Grace Medical. She went on the Now Morning Show to address the obesity crisis that we have here in Trinidad and Tobago, where we have pretty much 1 in every 2 people in Trinidad and Tobago are considered to be either overweight or obese. And she came on the Now Morning Show to say, okay, why people in Trinidad and Tobago are obese and what are the possible solutions that people can turn to address this obesity, especially on an individual level. So without further ado, let's go to the video.
We are now going to talk about the secret, the uncovering the secrets to weight loss. With me is Dr. Sukhbir of Grace Medical. You know, this is not the first time we're meeting, and this is an important conversation.
It is an important conversation. Good morning. Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
I'm just looking at some of the statistics here, and 57% of men and 67% of women in Trinidad and Tobago are overweight. That is an alarming statistic, because you don't really think that.
No, you don't. So the WHO and lots of...
and it's the same in 2024 and going into 2025. Those statistics are pretty much on point.
Governing bodies all over the world are alarmed by what's called the obesity epidemic. It's something that is becoming, you know, a real problem. And the entire medical community, as doctors, we have to learn how to look at obesity and being overweight as its own problem in itself. It's a disease. It has its own signs and symptoms and its own, you know, sequelae. So obesity leads to, as you know, heart disease, diabetes, but things that we don't often think about as well, like those things that you don't want to get as you get older. Arthritis, problems with your erections, problems with your hormones in general, like polycystic ovaries. It can cause a whole host of things. So we really need to learn how to tackle this problem and deal with it and get people to lose weight.
So how do we tackle this problem and get people to lose weight?
So I think there are so many factors that cause you to gain weight in the first place. You know, each person has their own reasons to why they gain weight and why they have difficulty losing weight. So it could be genetic factors that were going on since you were in the womb, which is why there's an increasing rate of children who struggle with obesity, but there's also depression, lack of sleep, problems with your hormones in general. In addition to the challenges faced by the modern world, so the increasing number of fast foods and trans fat, it's kind of all around us, and we're just moving less and less. Yeah. So you know, a lot of decrease in physical activity. So it is a tough one, but it is one that I've learned through, I basically had to go back to extra school.
Okay, now she pointed here that there are many different factors when it comes to obesity. However, I believe that yes, while there may be different factors, the main factor that contributes to obesity for a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago is the food that we put into our mouths each and every day. Now, yes, you could have depression and stress and so on, but usually what tends to happen with these factors, say for example like stress, when people are stressed, they tend to look for foods which are highly available and which are calorie dense in order to see it as a way out, a way of relieving the stress by consuming these high calorically dense foods. But the main factor, which I believe is the main factor in obesity in Trinidad and Tobago, is the high availability, as Dr. Raquel mentioned, of fast foods that we have in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
To really learn about it as a whole, and I kind of came up with a systematic approach. So at Grays Medical, we have a whole obesity service that's been developed. So we see somebody and we look at all of those factors, you know, what's been happening over the past 10, 20 years that's led to this increase in weight. We tackle some medical problems so we can treat those.
Personally, I believe that obesity or being overweight or obese does not have to be that complicated. It is a matter of the food that you put into your body each and every day. And one of the things which we continuously stress on here at Spencer's Whole Food Plant-Based Eats and Treats is that you are essentially a product of your environment. And this is especially true when it comes to food. The food that you have within your reach, whether it be in your house, your community, or your country, that plays a major role in the food that you put into your body each and every day, and in turn, what contributes to either good health or ill health.
Get them treated and then start you on a really good nutritional plan with exercise.
I mean, so we're entering the carnival. Well, we are in the carnival season.
We are.
And a lot of people want to, after the Christmas season, lose the extra pounds that they would have put on. What is the simplest way to do that in the shortest possible time?
Well, so everybody asks me, is it diet or is it exercise? And I think, you know, exercise is very good at maintaining weight loss, but diet is really the thing that gets you to lose the weight in the first place.
Well, at least that is something that I can wholeheartedly agree with there.
In terms of diets, I don't really, you know, support or promote the use of fad diets, because what happens is you end up losing, you know, 10, 15 pounds, you feel good, and then you plateau, and then you tend to regain even more after. So you end up with this yo-yo dieting cycle of gaining and losing and gaining and losing and gaining and ending up in the end more.
Okay, I'll break that down for you. What tends to happen, especially with fad diets, you either tend to restrict the amount of food that you eat. That's what tends to happen, especially with regards to fad diets. And we humans are pretty much hardwired to eat a certain amount of food until we're satisfied. If we don't fulfill that, what tends to happen is that we tend to develop these sort of cravings for food because we have unfulfilled hunger desires, and that leads to a whole lot of what people will call binge eating. And therefore, because of that, what tends to happen is that these people tend to drop off of diets, because these diets are not sustainable, because people are essentially going hungry for pretty long periods on these types of diets. If we are not fulfilled in our consumption of food each and every day, what happens is that we will tend to go for the food which has the most bang for the buck in terms of calories.
But for people who want to lose, you know, like 20 pounds in a safe way, I really like something called HCG, which is hormonal weight loss, which I do. It's an FDA regulated drug, and in the correct hands, so under medical supervision and someone who's had experience with it, it's very, very good, because it not only gets you to lose weight in a relatively short period of time, so like 20 pounds over a month, but it also, I love it because it resets your thyroid gland, so it increases your metabolism, so that weight loss is permanent. And it also, it's a hormone that's produced by the woman when you're pregnant. So it basically protects you from losing your good lean muscle and helps you to really just mobilize the fat stores. So for where being overweight becomes a health risk, this central weight collection that we get around our middles that is really linked to a lot of the medical problems of being overweight, HCG works there, so I love that particular way.
Okay, now here's my take on that. To me, I don't think that, number one, obesity is really as complicated as she made it out to be. Yes, obesity is a multifactorial disease. I get that. But usually, when you rank the impact of a lot of the factors, the number one factor that contributes to whether you are overweight, or obese, or of normal weight is the food that you put into your body each and every day. She discussed a method called an HCG method, which is an approach that she uses for weight loss. Now, as she said, that requires a drug, and it requires medical supervision for that weight loss. What I'm about to show you is I'm going to show you what I believe to be the real secret for weight loss. And this secret can explain a lot about Trinidad and Tobago's obesity crisis. Number one, why we in Trinidad and Tobago are so prone to being overweight or obese, and also why our children are having increasing rates of being overweight or obese, and why a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago usually tend to find it difficult to lose weight in Trinidad and Tobago. And this method, you don't need a drug, and you don't need any sort of medical supervision, and you don't need any sort of restriction in order to lose weight. As a matter of fact, using this method, you can eat as much food as you want once you stick within a certain benchmark. You can eat as much as you want once your caloric intake is within that benchmark. And that secret is calorie density. What is calorie density? Now, calorie density is essentially calories within a specific weight or volume of a food item. Just like how you have density, where you have mass within a certain volume. In this case, calorie density, you have calories within a certain weight or a certain volume. And usually, calorie density usually tends to be measured, or they express in terms of calories per pound, calories per cup, or calories per gram. And one of the major things that is very, very powerful about calorie density is that calorie density does not change for a specific food item or a specific recipe. Calorie density does not change. What do I mean by that? Now on this slide, you have, on one side, you have 2 cups of carrots. On the other side, you have 10 cups of carrots. Which one of these sets of carrots is going to give you more calories? If you said 10 cups of carrots, you are absolutely correct. The more carrots you eat, the more calories you are going to take into your body. However, if you notice, 2 cups of of carrots give you 90 calories. 10 cups of carrots gives you 450 calories. But this is where calorie density comes in. The calorie density of carrots is 45 calories per cup, or in terms of weight, calories is 186 calories per pound. So you can have 2 cups of carrots, 10 cups of carrots, even up to 50 or 100 cups of carrots. The calorie density of carrots does not change. And it's the same for each and every food item that you come across, whether it be a single food item like what you have with carrots, or you can have with cabbage or celery and so on, or you have a specific recipe like macaroni pie or stewed chicken. The calorie density of those food items does not change whether you eat a morsel or whether you eat a whole bowl. The calorie density of those items does not change. It is not the calorie density, it is not dependent on how much you eat. Here's a valid question which may be on your minds. Why should I care about calorie density? Now, as I said, calorie density is something which is very, very powerful, in my opinion. It is something which could explain the obesity crisis in Trinidad and Tobago, why women tend to suffer, for want of a better word, more from being overweight or obese, and why children are becoming increasingly more overweight or obese in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, here are some basic facts. When we consume food, our stomach has a specific capacity in which to hold the food that we eat. You usually may hear the term that we eat to our heart's content. Now, it's a slight misnomer. We eat until we are full, or we eat until our stomach is full. Now, that capacity, based on an average, most people tend to eat about 4 pounds of food a day. So therefore, you eat between 3 to 5 pounds of food. That is most people's intake by weight each and every day. And this applies whether you are a man or a woman. For children, they tend to be a little less. But on average, 4 pounds of food is what most people consume on a regular basis. In terms of volume, our stomach has a capacity of just over 4 cups of food. So once the volume of food reaches around 4 cups, usually you tend to have the feeling of fullness that most people tend to associate when they have had a full meal. Now, just to reiterate, as a guide, an average man usually needs between 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day, and an average woman usually needs between 1,800 and 2,200 calories a day. So on average, around 2,000 calories a day. An average woman, that is their caloric requirement. Now, this is where the caloric density concept comes in and where you see how powerful it is. Now, this video which I'm going to show you is going to be a presentation by the lady by the name of Chef AJ. Chef AJ was somebody who had dealt with being overweight or obese for a good part of her adult life until she learned the concept of calorie density. It was a concept which was so powerful for her that she moved from being overweight or obese to somebody who is of a healthy weight. She has reached the weight of 117 pounds, as in 117 pounds, due to this concept of calorie density. And in this step, what she gives a particular benchmark, which once people eat foods that are under this benchmark, they can eat as much food as they want without having to worry about counting calories or portions and so on.
Before I had PowerPoint, or before I learned how to do PowerPoint, I used to have clients come to my home in Sherman Oaks, and I would give them the lecture that I'm giving you, and I would do it on a whiteboard. I would write it by hand and teach these concepts. And I had given this talk to a young lady, and after an hour, she quizzically scratched her head, and she goes, well, what am I supposed to eat? And out of frustration, I drew a vertical red line with the Sharpie, and I said, look, just eat to the left of the red line. And as luck would have it, and research corroborates, that if you keep your average calorie density to 600 calories per pound or less, and this includes all the fruits, all the non-starchy vegetables, pretty much, and all the starchy vegetables, if you keep it to that, you'll not only be able to easily lose weight, but maintain that weight loss. And it's pretty much never not worked unless you're doing something like adding a lot of things like salt and other things to your food.
Now, mark that benchmark, 600 calories a pound. And it makes sense as to why that is the benchmark. Because if you just do simple maths, remember I mentioned earlier that most people tend to eat around 4 pounds of food a day. If the calorie density of your food that you eat is at the maximum mark, at 600 calories per pound, 600 calories per pound by 4 pounds will give you what? 2,400 calories, which is roughly around the caloric requirement of most adults. If you go above that, that is where you tend to go above the calorie requirement for men, women, and children. If you stay under that, that is where you find it easy to eat large amounts of food without having to worry about portions and having to watch what you eat, and everything in moderation. Gosh, that thing drives me up a wall. Yes, everything in moderation. But this is what I want to show you by saying how powerful the concept of calorie density is. Now, one of the recommendations by the Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago, and certainly by the World Health Organization, is this. The World Health Organization recommends that each and every person in the world should be consuming at least 400 grams or approximately 1 pound of fruits and vegetables a day. And if you follow this can really give you a very powerful edge in your weight loss goals. And I'll show you why. And it all has to do with calorie density. Let's say, for example, you choose 2 vegetables and 1 fruit. And let's say you decide to up the ante as to how much fruits and vegetables you eat. The World Health Organization, they recommend at 1 pound of fruits and vegetables, you go for 2. And to make up your 2 pounds of fruits and vegetables, you go with a half a pound of cabbage, a half a pound of carrots, and 1 pound of pineapple. How much calories do you think you are consuming if you eat 2 pounds of cabbage, carrots, and pineapple in one day? Well, just to show you how much calories you're consuming with that, a half pound of cabbage will give you 54 calories, a half pound of carrots will give you 93 calories, and 1 pound of pineapple will give you 218 calories, all for a grand total of 365 calories. So therefore, in 2 pounds of fruits and vegetables, you are consuming less than 400 calories. And remember what I said, most people tend to eat 4 pounds of food a day on average. So if you eat 2 pounds of fruits and vegetables, guess how much food you have left to consume for the rest of the day? 2 pounds. So you see how the concept of calorie density is important, especially when it comes to eating the right types of food for weight loss. One of the most powerful things, which I'm pretty sure any medical professional will agree with me on this, is that one of the fastest ways to lose weight and lose weight effectively and safely is to eat more fruits and vegetables. At least 1 pound. If you can eat 2, even better. And this is why. Let's go to what a lot of people in Trinidad can eat from time to time. In Trinidad and Tobago, we have 60 KFC restaurants in our twin island nation, which is second to Puerto Rico in terms of the number of KFC establishments in terms of the Caribbean. And one of the things that a lot of people, especially on a busy day, one of the things that people tend to resort to when they're hungry is that they tend to go for an individual meal in KFC. And an individual meal in KFC can consist of something like this, where a person purchases a two-piece, and that two-piece consists of KFC breast and wing, a portion of fries, and a 20-ounce Pepsi. KFC breast and wing has 470 calories. One portion of fries has 320 calories, and a 20-ounce Pepsi can have 250 calories, giving you a grand total of 1,040 calories in that meal alone. Now, one of the things also is that that total weight of that KFC meal can be a little less than 2 pounds. So let's compare KFC meal with the 2 pounds of fruits and vegetables I had mentioned earlier. As you can see, the weight of the carrot, cabbage, and pineapple was 2 pounds, and the KFC meal was 1.8 pounds. So there isn't that much difference between the weight. However, there is a threefold difference in the amount of calories that one consumes in a sample KFC meal to 2 pounds of fruits and vegetables. And that right there is the power of calorie density. What calorie density does is that it standardizes the weight and the volume of every single food you can think of. So therefore, calorie density does not look at the amount of food that you eat, which is what a lot of medical professionals like to say about everything in moderation, have small portions, and watch how much you eat. No, I am saying watch what you eat. And you can see it here. The amount of food isn't that much different, but what you eat matters. And when it comes to obesity, what you eat matters. And this concept of calorie density, as I said, explains a lot about why we in Trinidad and Tobago have a problem with obesity, and we have a problem with children increasingly becoming overweight or obese. And it all comes down to calorie density, what you eat. And I'll show you how. I'm going to go through some very common Trini foods that we in Trinidad and Tobago, what we consider staples as part of our Trini cuisine. And I'll show you the calorie density of each one of these foods, and tell me if any one of these foods is below that 600 calorie per pound benchmark. So we have sada roti. Sada roti, the calorie density of sada roti is 950 calories per pound. Paratha roti, the calorie density of paratha roti is 1,310 calories per pound. Trinidad doubles, calorie density 1,377 calories per pound. Macaroni pie, a favorite in the Trinidad and Tobago diaspora, calorie density 880 calories per pound. So in other words, if you were to eat 4 pounds of macaroni pie, you could be going up anywhere close to 3,600 calories in a day. Pastels, just came out the Christmas season. Calorie density of pastels, 681 calories per pound. Not terrible, yeah, but you could be going up close to 2,800 calories if you were to eat 4 pounds of pastels in a day. Cuckoo, another Trinidadian favorite. Cuckoo, the way how it is made in Trinidad and Tobago, the calorie density of cuckoo can be 1,000 calories per pound. Jira pork, a very popular street food in Trinidad and Tobago. Jira pork has a calorie density of 1,220 calories per pound. Fried chicken. Remember I mentioned the sample KFC meal that a lot of Trinis tend to indulge themselves in. The calorie density of fried chicken is 1,350 calories per pound. Oh, and let's mention the fries too. The calorie density of fries is 1,250 calories per pound. So now, I hope now you get how powerful this concept of calorie density is. All you just need to know is what is the food that you are eating, what is the calorie density of that food, and that alone can tell you whether that food will be contributing to your weight loss goals or if it will be hindering your weight loss goals. And one thing I can tell you is that the foods which are less processed in their natural state and they're not from an animal or a plant as in a factory, those foods will be less calorie dense than the foods that makes it on most people's plates in Trinidad and Tobago. So therefore, and these are just 10 foods which I've mentioned. I can go into a whole set of foods and show you the calorie density of foods that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, and you will see in black and white as clear as day that the foods that we eat in Trinidad and Tobago are calorie dense and hindering any sort of chance that we have to reducing the obesity epidemic that we have in Trinidad and Tobago and the diseases that are associated with obesity. It is this concept of calorie density, which I just mentioned, which shows why our children are becoming either overweight or obese. Because guess what? When we eat those calorie dense foods, they following us. So guess what? As the local saying goes, monkey see, monkey do. So in short, once you keep the calorie density of what you are eating to 600 calories per pound, you can be pretty much guaranteed that the amount of food that you eat will not matter. You will be able to eat as much food as your heart desires, yet still not have to have in the back of your mind whether this amount of food that you're eating will make you put on weight or put on body fat. Once you understand this concept, which is a very simple concept, this can take you on the path to good health and achieving your weight loss goals. So if you found this video helpful, I thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have made it this far in the video, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.